Good morning. This is Bill from Auto Europe in Naples on a really misty, chilly Florida morning. This looks like something you'd find in London more than Naples. And of course I quite like it. I'm one of these guys who kind of enjoys miserable cold weather. Don't know why, probably part of my personality trait. So this is a good day for me. And you know, I'm also very happy to have this 2008 Mercedes-Benz S550 sedan. Some things in life are permanent and rigid and forever, and that, you know, has to count amongst them the Mercedes-Benz S-Class. It's been a favorite of, you know, CEOs, heads of state, Albanian gangsters for many, many years, the diplomatic corps, with good reason. It is a giant German Q-ship, and it just permeates style and class, and when you show up in one of these things, you have arrived. You know, you can get into the BMWs, the Audis, that sort of things, the Lexus. They're all fine, they're good cars, but an S-Class carries with it sort of an extra level of panache that just isn't rivaled by any other company. This is the W221 series. It came after the W220, and that one came after the W140. A lot of, you know, again, I always use that word controversy. This car really isn't controversial at all. It's just fine. What is neat about this car is that, to me, it's when Mercedes-Benz got the S-Class right. And I don't mean in terms of the older stuff. I mean, the 126 was phenomenal. The 80s S, incredible car. The 140, you know, a terrific car in so many ways, probably the most overbuilt car in history, but still very complicated, and showed a time when Mercedes-Benz was changing. They were going from, you know, wood, leather, nuts, bolts, and engineering that sort of couldn't be seen into something a little bit more Lexus-like, where the engineering was more in your face, the interiors had more gadgetry, and it was difficult to make that switch. And the 140 and the 220 that came after it had some awkward bits that just didn't blend well. Well, the 221 finally did it. It finally mated that classic German engineering with the more modern stuff that, of course, all buyers were pining for. It has technology up the yin-yang. It's stylistically attractive. There is some debate. Some people say it looks like a big Mazda RX-8 with those wheel arches in the front and back. You know, I see it. I see what they're saying, but I do think it's a very handsome and elegant design. I love the curvature of the roof line. I do like the wheel arches in the back, more than the front, but I do like them. The lovely swooping curves. It really does give you, you know, what an S-Class is supposed to, and that's a big, imposing sedan that's nice to look at. It's a little bit shorter than the prior S-Class, a couple of inches, but much more substantial in terms of the equipment they used, in terms of the materials they used, and the interior is just night and day. Let's get around this car. I'm going to jump right in. I got more cars to do today, so we're going to do abbreviated videos. Okay, you have a nice big giant trunk, as an S-Class should. There you see the original mats. It's got a little compartment down here where you find a place to put stuff. Those little things are for the spare tire. It uses different lug bolts. Underneath this guy, we will find the spare tire and the toolkit and other stuff. So I don't know how many people have opened that up and said there's no spare. It just is one of those things. Little medical kit there, all very nice. And if you want to hide a, you know, a MAC-10 or a little submachine gun, you'll be able to fit it in there, no problem. Cover it down, nobody's going to know till you need it. So a very nice big trunk there. It also does have that E-Class style thing to hang your dead roadkill from, or even shopping bags. And everyone's going to be chipper with the trunk. You can lock the car using that button there. If you've gotten your groceries, you're going in, you don't want to dick with the keys. You can also just press this guy and it will electronically close for you. Very, very nice stuff. Have a look under the hood. God, this is great weather. I just love feeling a bit cold and miserable. I definitely could live in Seattle. Okay, under here is a 5.5 liter 32 valve V8 engine, putting out about 389 horsepower, significantly more than the prior S-Classes. It's an incredible engine in this car. It's torquey, it returns decent fuel mileage. They're essentially indestructible. You really don't see too many engine problems with these cars. You get the occasional oil leak or stupid stuff, but as far as Mercedes-Benz V8s go, they're just absolutely bulletproof in a way that BMW V8s are not. You also get a dipstick, which is fantastic. Of course, Mercedes did that stupid thing where they did away with dipsticks, so you had to check your oil with the instrument cluster. Nice to see that's not there anymore. You see it as a little Mercedes battery here. I always love seeing a Mercedes battery. That usually means the car was dealer serviced and the guy didn't mind spending money on it. You see these little air lines running to the front struts. That's part of the airmatic suspension. Keeps the car very nicely planted on the road. And everything just lovely under the hood. It's what you'd expect from, a very well-owned, one-owner, 51,000-mile car. This is all mated to a 7-speed Mercedes automatic that works phenomenally well. And it's just a terrific drivetrain in the car, capable of good speeds on the Autobahn, capable of really quick quarter-mile times and 0 to 60 times, and gives the S-Class the performance that it needs to have to be a world-class car. There's frankly a lot of BMW in this thing in terms of the technology. Now, these big, beautiful xenon light assemblies are a little bit special in the fact that this one has the night vision, the vision assist. And what it has are these little infrared projectors. You can't see them with the naked eye, but they project down the road. And then this camera up here in the windshield picks those up and can give you a night vision display on one of the screens on your dashboard. Pretty neat stuff. S-Classes also have this coating around all the windows that really keeps out the UV rays and other issues, keeps the cabin cooler. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little square right here where you have to put your passes or the Sun Pass we have here for tolls and that sort of thing. If you put them up here, gate openers, that kind of thing, they will not work. It will not recognize it. You have to get it in that little square in order for these signals to go through. And again, that's the kind of extra engineering S-Classes get. Lovely big, front end bumper design. You can see it's got the Parktronic, so it's got the little dots in the bumper. These little squares here are headlight washers that'll pop out and shoot water onto the headlights, keep them nice and clean. You got some fogs down low. And again, just a lovely, imposing, nice way to pull up to a meeting of CEOs or, the gangster connection. So all very cool stuff. Very nice, proper alloy wheels. This one does not have the Sport package, which would give you much bigger AMG alloys. That's a double-edged sword. The AMGs look great, but the smaller wheels and tires on this car make it cheaper to put rubber on there and frankly ride better. They give you more sidewall and more cushion. You see those big vented dinner plate brakes behind there, bring the car down to a stop in a hurry, and nice fresh set of Michelins on here. Again, owned by a pretty classy guy. Like the turn signals in the rearview mirrors, nice big sunroof there, little shark fin antenna. Start in the back. Okay, so only the long wheelbase version of this car came to the United States, and that's fine. It just makes it simpler. The S-Class leather is absolutely beautiful. Soft, gorgeous, magical to the touch, magical to sit in. Tons of legroom. If you got some Canadians to stuff back there, they're going to be in heaven. You could fit 5 of them in here. Everything lovely all around. Even vents out the rear. These have hot and cool seats, so if you're running them, a little bit of that air is going to come out and tease the back passengers. He gets control for the rear sunscreen. Your power windows, you got great little ashtray there that flips up, nice little place to stuff things, and beautiful burlwood trim with chrome surrounds. You get a center console, comes down, gives you cup holders, and a nice place to store a pretty good sized revolver in there. You also have these little headrests that pop up. and you can see the sunscreen is deployed. If you press a button in the front, those will go back down. And of course, they give you little makeup mirrors to, you know, check your nose before you go into Harrods and buy some stuff. That little pod there from the top is part of the optional Parktronic. You'll be able to see that in your rearview mirror, and it'll light up red and yellow and green as you're backing up. You can also see the little airbag symbol over there. It's got, you know, side airbags, top airbags for the rear passengers. If you care enough about them to keep them safe, Mercedes will do that for you. We also get soft closed doors. Just get them close enough, put them lightly in, and they'll suck themselves closed. Something I've been trying to teach my girlfriend for a very long time. She much prefers slamming the door like it's some kind of a bank vault. It also has keyless go, so I can lock it by pressing that little square on the handle. You can see the mirrors fold in if you have them set for that. To open it, just put your hand and give it a tug. Best seats in the business. I mean, incredible. Beautiful, supportive, rich leather. These are perforated, so you know they're, again, they're heated and cooled, and you're just not going to find a better seat. I mean, if you hop in this thing to drive from, you know, Naples up to Jacksonville, you're just going to want to keep going to Vermont. They're so comfortable, they're so well engineered, and just so lovely to sit in. Very nice door panels over here, again with a little neat little spot to put a switchblade or pens or coins, a little map pocket down there. Beautiful aluminum buttons. This is the kind of stuff they got right in this car that they had gone away from in the prior version. They're beautiful, the stylized part of them, the way they touch. Actually, they're a little bit complicated to use. They're not completely intuitive by touch, but they work fine, and I love the little chrome surrounds, the mirror controls there. Very, very pretty styling on the buttons and accoutrements here. You've got 52-way power seats. You can move just the lower cushion forward. You can move the whole thing forward. All very nice the way it works. You've got your cool seats, your hot seats, your memory stuff. That little button will move the right seat. I'll show you that inside in a minute, and that's pretty cool. And anyway, everything just lovely there. So let's hop in. Nice solid thud. Foot on the brake. Tap that start stop. And I need to replace the key battery. Nice that it tells me that. And it beeps at me and the radio comes on. Okay, so here you have two nice big displays. You know, you've got a digital screen, which gives you analog gauges. Now, before it gets too bright out, I'm going to show you this. We talked about the infrared. Here you see that button there with the sun and the moon and the highway. Press that, and your screen goes from having the speedometer to this sort of night vision screen ahead of you, which is really, really cool. And the speedo becomes a bar graph at the bottom. Mercedes said that gives you the same distance as using high beams without blinding oncoming drivers. So you can, you know, have your low beams on, hit that, and not annoy people coming at you. Turn it off, just hit it again. You got your automatic headlamps. You know, it's all very elegant and nice. Your tack, lovely leather steering wheel. The steering column is telescope. I wish the light wasn't on in this camera. Anyway, the steering column is telescoping in and out, up and down. Works with the memory seats. You've got your automatic wipers. You can leave them on, basically, unless it senses water. They're not going to run. Cruise control up here, lovely. Mercedes-Benz electronic shifter on the column. Does away with the need for having one on the center console and gives you more space. Mercedes-Benz, this is their command unit, which is quite nice, and I'll tell you why. You know, the iDrive came out in BMW, and it started all of this with the little button mouse thing down here and sort of a complicated electronic feature up there. Mercedes knows its customers a little bit better than BMW does. The average S-Class buyer is 61, and, you know, frankly, they just don't want to, you know, have to be Stephen Hawking to figure out how to change a radio station. So they have this lovely metal aluminum mouse that you can use. It twists left to right. You can see I'm going through the different features that way. It moves up and down. and that's how you get to the bottom of the screen or the top position, and you push down on it to enter. So if I want to go full screen, push down, now I'm full screen. Now you can zoom with the nav. There's the whole state of Florida. Get in real tight, and there's just where we are. It's got all these little adjusters here. You can angle the screen towards you or away from you. It's got parking sensor. You can turn them off if they're annoying you. ESP, that's the electronic stability program, the traction control. Here's the airmatic. So if I hit that, it's actually going to lift the car. You see vehicle rising, and that's going to give you extra ground clearance if you need it. So if you're a gangster and you just shot someone, you got to run them over to get out of the alleyway, just hit that thing. It's going to lift up and give you plenty of clearance. Put it in reverse. I should have a camera. I do. Nice. So you got your sensors and your camera. I love the leather on. I don't know if it's actual leather. It might well be. And it's lovely. It's stitched. It covers the whole dash, and it's just nice to look at. And again, that was one of the big upgrades from these cars from the prior generation. The materials, the accoutrements just became lovely. Look at the little ambient lighting underneath the wood and the chrome. The richness of the wood is just beautiful. It gives you an electronic parking brake, which I've never liked. I want a manual parking brake so I can get feel out of it. I mean, I imagine you pull this thing on the highway in an emergency and it's just going to lock up the tires. Maybe they're smarter than that. You do get a multifunction wheel. If we go over to the audio, let's see if I can do that. Tel Navi disc radio. Okay, let's see if our voice control works. Sometimes it just hates me. 94.5. Look at that, so it likes me. You can use that to, of course, change your radio station. What do we have?
Guys, when you're dealing with
commercials, of course. But anyway, you can use that to change your radio station, change the navigation, program it, whatever else. All very nice stuff. You get a lot of random direct access buttons here for the command. Comfort and sport setting on the tranny. Here's the rear headrest going down. No, they're not. Okay, probably have to start driving. This is a little programmable button, so you can make that. Like, let's say you want to make it home for nav. So you hit that, and it's just going to start navigating home. Let's see down here. You get a mute button for the radio. You get a volume control. You can turn the whole thing on and off. This can change the seat settings. This changes the direct access to the telephone or navigation. Back button is nice if you get stuck in somewhere you don't want to. Disc radio hazards. Push forward, you get a true honest ashtray. Push this guy, you get some fairly simple cup holders for an S-Class, which is nice. This is an in-dash CD changer with a memory card slot. Lovely. Direct access controls for the climate control. Beautiful aluminum air vents with the Mercedes badged analog clock, all very nice. And everything just sort of lovely there. In here you got some sort of demonstration book and an iPod adapter. Up here you got a self-dimming mirror, another row of aluminum buttons, your light controls, your SOS, Mercedes-Benz M-Brace, that gives you roadside assistance like OnStar and such. A little place to put your sunglasses, and of course a nice big power sunroof. Lovely. And I'm telling you, man, this thing is Lexus quiet. You know, that's something that Mercedes-Benz figured out. They made it just so much quieter. In fact, we can sort of see the Parktronic working. You know, Mercedes doesn't slowly beep until you hit, you know, the closest area. So it's not a beep that raises. It's only a warning beep saying, stop, for the love of God. Check out the turning radius in this car. There are very few cars I can pull out of that garage, crank the wheel, and make it without having to reverse again. And the S-Class is one of them, and it's a big car. Of course, Mercedes has always had a great turning radius. The quietness of this car is epic. I mean, it is absolutely, you get this hint of a V8 under there. You can just kind of make it out, which is nice. but you are so detached from the sounds of the road. It's got double pane glass on the windows, keeping the noise levels down. It's got insulation up the yin-yang. It is as quiet as the Lexus LS 460, which is quite an achievement. And there is the juice that every S-Class should have. And again, that's a 0 to 60 time in the 5s, quarter mile time, I want to say under 14. I mean, it's a bit of a rocket ship, this car. For a big, heavy, you know, Autobahn cruiser, it really gets up and goes. And it just smooths the bumps out. The steering has an incredible on-center feel that's lovely. Again, you're driving down the road, you got the Mercedes star on the front of the hood, you're sitting in the world's most comfortable chairs, and you just feel like the chairman of the board. I mean, you know, you are the king of the universe in an S-Class. The road we're on right now is a terrible road. It's all chewed up. Every car I've driven down it sounds like you're, you know, riding on gravel. And the S, it's just, you know, very reasonably quiet. It's just what this car does. Uses all sorts of electronic systems to keep the thing level. The ESP, if it senses the car's moving in a direction it shouldn't be, it'll apply brakes individually. It has pre-safe. If it senses a collision, it's going to make you, you know, try to make you safer. What can you say? For your $90,000, you get an incredibly well-engineered car. And again, this to me is the time when Mercedes, in the modern era, put it all together. You know, they managed to get all the wood, leather, nuts and bolts stuff with all the electronic gadgetry and all the safety in a lovely harmony that they just hadn't achieved until this car. And again, don't get me wrong, 140, great car. 220, you know, take it or leave it. But the 221 just reached a really nice balance. I'm coming into Rooster Zone here. I don't see any around, thank God. So anyway, if you have an interest, give us a call. This is a 2008 S550 sedan. It's a one-owner car, 51,000 miles, immaculate, brilliant silver outside, charcoal premium leather inside. A real sweetheart of a piece. And what a machine you can get for just a little bit of money. I tell you what, fantastic. And they've been pretty reliable and reasonably easy to maintain cars, knock on wood. The 220s seem to have a lot more peculiarities and issues than do these 221s. All in all, these have been very, very reliable piece to have. Thanks for having a look. You can reach us 239-298-8000 on the web at aenaples.com. Thanks so much for having a look. We appreciate it. We'll see you with the next one. Take care.